Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to the golf side of the podcast. We have a golfer in the studio. So we're going to, I haven't talked golf in a couple of weeks, so it's going to be a treat for our viewers that love golf. So Farrell, would you introduce yourself, who you are, the business you're in, and who you serve, and then we'll start talking some golf.
Absolutely. Good morning. My name is Farrell Middleton, and I am in the business of teaching, coaching, and mentoring at this point in my life. And I serve business owners and leaders, helping them create healthy business environments. And I help their staff members live better and more productive lives.
Well, that is awesome. And you do that and you play golf. So that's like a hole in one and a double eagle in one phrase. I love it. So how did you get in? What was your path in golf? Like, did you play golf as a kid?
I played a little bit of golf growing up. I was more of a tennis player growing up, but I played a little bit of golf. But I started playing golf more actively when I got out of college in my early 20s. Picked up the game, started playing a little bit more. So at this point, I guess I've been playing I'm 59. So, 37, 38 years, something like that. So, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've had, gone up and down with my golf career, but I absolutely love the game.
Well, what would you say, like in that journey of that many years playing golf? How did golf impact your business life? I mean, was it something that you always hear, hey, I did this deal on the golf course. So how did you like mix golf and business together? What was that like?
That was fairly easy for me. I was a home builder for my career of 36 years.
Okay.
And with the trade base that I dealt with, suppliers, subcontractors, golf is a very popular sport here in the Southeastern United States, as we all know. A lot of golf courses around here. And so I played a fair amount of what we would call business golf. And it's just really, it wasn't the deals getting made on the golf course.
Right.
It was just developing relationships and getting to know people and that kind of thing. So it was just a really good time to bond and just, get friendly with folks. And that type of engagement certainly helps future relationships, no doubt about it.
So did you tell us a little bit about like your family? Did you have kids that you taught golf to or did expose golf to, or what was that like?
I do. I'm blessed with two daughters. They're adults now, working professionals here in Atlanta. And my youngest is quite a good athlete. I won't go into all that, but she enjoys playing the game. And she actually has a very good, she's got like a Davis lung, that high loopy arcing swing. She's tall like I am. And now she's a professional in the insurance business. And the fun thing is when they do have business outings with scrambles and things like that, sometimes she's the only female there and everybody wants her on their team because on the par fives, she gets them like in wedge range because she hits the ball so far. So they absolutely love having her on the team. But she's making, some business acquaintances through golf as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of my friends, I played golf in high school, and so they all played football, baseball, and basketball. And so it was later after we had, got beyond college and all that, a lot of them started golf, and we, golf trips and stuff like that. So it was a later in life sport. And did you say that you did play golf in high school?
Not much. I was more of a tennis player in high school. But I hacked around a little bit of golf, but nothing serious. Nothing at all. Yeah.
So what got you into it initially? What was the design? What was the drive about? What did golf provide that you were obviously playing tennis?
Yeah.
And so what was that like?
I think I just enjoyed the game. I picked up, my father-in-law was a very avid golfer. And so he really got me exposed to it. My wife and I met in high school, so I've known him for a very long time. And so I used to, when I got out of college, I used to be able to go play with him. And so he introduced me to the sport. And I just realized how much I loved it. And I developed a good swing at a fairly early age. I'm reasonably athletic. I wasn't college athletic material or anything like that, but I was a good high school athlete. And so basically he exposed me to it, and I just kind of latched on to it. And I've lived in a couple of golf course communities here in my adult life. I lived in Town Lake for a while years ago, and I've lived in the Marietta Country Club area for a while for the last 20 years or so. And so I've been at golf courses right outside my back door, for lack of a better way to say it. So it was just easy to do it. And my wife plays a little bit as well. She's not an avid golfer, but she likes to play 9 holes. So that is a tip for you golfers. Get your wife out there as well, and that will open the doors for your golfing success. Let me be very clear.
Wow. I love that, because it is important, because if you can hang out with your wife on the golf course, that's extra time that you guys can spend together.
Oh,
so at what point did she start picking up golf? Was that later, after the girls were grown?
No, she actually played a little bit growing up. Again, her father, we grew up in Savannah. Okay. And her father was an avid golfer, and so she would get out and play with him, 9 holes on the weekends, that kind of thing. So she might have even picked up a golf club before I did. But she was never an aggressive player. She doesn't. It's not playing every Saturday and that kind of thing. But she just goes out there and just kind of hacks around a little bit, and we just enjoy it, especially on a pretty day. It's just really a great way to spend some time.
Yeah, it is good. I've played Marietta Country Club, a number of fundraisers, and won a tournament, the Tommy Nobis tournament out there. So. Yeah, I have fond memories. I have an actual picture of the clubhouse on that hole that has water. I think it's either 18 or 9.
That'd be number 9.
Number 9, yeah. So I have that somewhere. I probably need to get it back out. It's a beautiful picture.
Oh, yeah, it's a very nice golf course there. And the good thing about Marietta Country Club, it's a nice walking course. Fairways. I love to walk as well. It's a really good walking course. We have a lot of walkers out there, which is fantastic. So that's the way I enjoy the game as well. Have
you, competition-wise, have you played in some tournaments out there and kind of honed your game? I know you have a single digit. So what's that like to play competitively within a golf country club like Marietta?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, I got so many good friends there, and we have very friendly competitive matches. So like, if I'm going to suit up and put my golf shoes on and grab my sticks, look, I want to go win. I'm not going to be a jerk about it, but I want to play well. I want to perform.
Sure.
But let's see, I won the Net Club Championship about maybe 10 years ago, something like that. And then I won the Summer Long Match Play Championship 3 years ago. That was a nice grueling test.
Yes.
But I won that. And let's see, I've won a few other tournaments, won my flight in the member tournaments and that kind of thing. So, fairly good competition there at the club. Yeah, I'm a 5 handicap right now, and I can shoot anywhere from a 70 to an 87 on any given day. Let's be very clear. So that's my game.
Well, that's golf. I think for all our golfers, they know that one day you show up and everything is just in the groove, and then the next day you go, like, who was that guy the day before?
Absolutely.
So
happens to be a lot. Yeah, actually, I have a lot of tail of 2 9s. Like, for example, a few weeks ago in the Senior Club Championship, second day, I was kind of sort of in it, but my first round was a 43. I decided to go ahead and throw in a 35 on the back.
Whoa!
It was a little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I lost by a few shots, but 43-35. That's an interesting way to shoot a 78.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Finishing strong is important. So tell our golfers, like, what's your philosophy winning the match play championship? How many matches did you have to play to get to win that?
It was 7 matches, and I was down after 9 holes, I believe, in 5 of the 7 matches.
Really?
On the 10th tee box, I was down either 1, 2, or 3 holes, and even in the finals. And basically, I just stuck it out. One match, my semifinal match, which was so much fun with a very good friend of mine.
Right.
After we walked off the 13th tee box, he was up 3.
What?
Yeah. And I came back and tied him on. Actually, I had a putt to win it on the 18th hole. So we went to an extra hole and I won in the playoff. So, yeah. So no, just sticking it out. Just keep playing, trying to hit one good shot after another, and maybe the other guy will make a mistake here and there, and you miss a putt, that kind of thing. But it was a lot of fun. But the finals match was against a very good friend of mine. We were both 5 handicaps at the time,
right?
And so there were no strokes given, so it was easy for everybody to keep it. We had about 60 or 70 people following us watching.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was so fun.
My gosh!
Yeah, and I closed him out on the 18th hole, so it's too much fun.
So one up is what you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I tied him on the 17th hole with a birdie. And then he unfortunately 3-putted 18. So
oh my gosh. Oh geez.
That's how it happens.
That brings chills to my body, because I love match play too. I mean, it's something about match play. It's you against the other person, and you're just a lot of it's the mental part of it.
Yeah.
So what would you say, why would you feel that what's been your key to success in match play and something like that? What are you thinking about as your approach? Because stroke play is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Help our viewers through some of your mindset games or not games, strategies that you had.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And also, real quick, I did win the senior match play last year as well. So I got
nice.
But anyway, with match play, the reason I think I like it so much is that one swing and one bad hole is not going to end the round for you.
Right.
Like, I've had my share of triple and quadruple bogeys and club championships, and you're done. I mean, you're done.
Yes.
So one hole is not going to do it. And then as well is with guys at our skill level, look, we're not professional golfers.
Right.
You tense up a little bit. Somebody with a 2 or 3 hole lead with 5 holes to play, they might start swinging a little more tightly.
Yes.
Starting to think about it a little bit more, that kind of thing, a little more delicate with the first putt, that kind of thing. And so that does happen. Not that I want to take advantage of other people's mistakes, of course. Let me be very clear. I want everybody to play well.
Yeah.
But that's just part of it as well, is you just keep sticking it out hole after hole. And, eventually, hopefully you will prevail. And that to me but the big key is that one hole is not going to lose the entire round.
Right.
That's the fundamental key with it. Yeah.
So when you were down on the 13th hole 3, what were you thinking when you go to the 14th hole, you're down 3? What was your thought process?
I was thinking, you know what? I just got to hit better shots than my opponent. Okay. And I've got to make him, I was going to make him beat me, even though he was up by 3 with 5 holes to play. Okay. I was going to make him win every hole to win the match. Okay. And I just hit a few better shots than he did. Mm-hmm. And it made it really, really good. And actually, through the entire 7 matches, I think I won 4 of those matches on the 17th hole. It's a short par 3 downhill, and I stuffed pitch and wedge after pitch and wedge, and they were basically conceded birdie putts for the most part. And I won several matches on the 17th green. So yeah, so a lot of fun.
Oh my God!
Basically, it was just I just hit better shots than he did.
Well, I already know one thing from this podcast, that you're going to be on speed dial for my charity tournaments, because we way back 1 year ago, I wasn't playing, so I put together a team, and it was absolutely the A team. I mean, guy KSU, he was like a +3, and a bunch of good golfers, and I was, of course, running my mouth like, we're going to win this thing. And we got out mulliganed. In charity golf tournaments, they make money on mulligans, and there's no problem with that. Yeah. But when somebody buys 25 mulligans, and I had a young KSU golfer, of course, he's just getting established. He's not going to have the resources to buy 25 mulligans. Right. So we got out mulligan, and we didn't win. And I was like bragging to my daughter, bragging to my son-in-law that we're going to win this tournament because we put together a top team, but that just didn't happen. Yeah. So walk our viewers through, like, what's your strong part of your game?
I would say right now the strongest part of my game is my driver. Believe it or not, I've got a very consistent ball flight. I've got a high cut, and I hit that 90% of the time. And everybody I play with, they're like, oh boy, there he goes again, just boring down the middle. Right. But then my challenge is, Pete, I've got to pick another club out of the bag and hit the ball again. Okay? Right. And therein can lie the problem every once in a while. Right. And as well, I've gotten pretty good on the putting greens as well. I'm not spectacular, but I've gotten fairly darn consistent on the putting greens. Right. And I got a couple of tips on that if you want me to share those. Yes, please. Yeah. The best tip I got on this was from a very good friend of mine who's a really good golfer, and he and I played a lot of fun competitive rounds. Basically, he said, Farrell, whenever you're putting, your aim point is 1 foot past the cup. Yes. Okay. How many putts do we all hit that either, number one, don't get to the cup, or number two, they get there, but they fall just short of that firm line you need to hit them on? So absolutely, basically 1 foot past the cup is your goal. And then that's during round. And on the putting surface, I got a great tip from a scratch golfer, a friend of mine, about 25 years ago. Right. He said, if you're practicing putting either prior to a round or just out with a random, you're going to putt for 30 minutes or whatever, he said, every ball has to go in the hole. So
Right.
most people, they're practicing from 20, 25 feet.
Right.
They go hit it to within a foot or so. They swipe the ball and go hit it again, that kind of thing. He said, no, every ball goes in the cup. And
Okay.
that gets your mind just in this thought process of, I've got to hold the putt in order to finish the hole.
Right.
And if you can do that on the practice green, it helps quite a bit because it gets you in that mode of, okay, every ball's got to go in the hole.
Yep.
So those are my two tips on the course and in the practice session.
I love it. We do Silver Cup, which is our Ryder Cup version.
Okay.
And a lot of people, when they're not playing like you just described, because it's like, hey, it's a 2-footer. That's good, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And so you pick the ball up. So you don't have the experience of putting every putt out. Then when you get in competition, you got to putt everything out. And it's like you haven't trained yourself
Absolutely.
to do that. So I love that tip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it speaks to when you're practicing, you're playing for that eventual time that when you're in those match play situations that you don't panic when you're 3 down with 5 to play.
Mm-hmm.
You just say time to hit one shot after another.
That's right.
So what kind of driver do you use
right now I've got a Ping G30. It's about 5 years old, so I probably need to get a new one. It might be about time.
Okay.
But I've been a Ping guy for a long time. They just suit my suit me very well. But many, many years ago, I was a younger guy. I could hit a 3-wood, 270, 280, something like that.
Right.
So I was not a good player with my driver.
Mm-hmm.
One summer, I just forced myself to learn how to hit a driver. And I teed the ball up. And when I addressed it, the ball is almost on my outside. I'm a right-handed golfer. It's almost on my outside left toe.
Okay.
It's so far out because for me, that's I got to give my swing enough time to get the club face square. And so I did that. But it's a Ping driver that I like quite a bit. I got some Ping irons as well. And then a few other little random wedges. Got some Vokey wedges, which are really good around the green, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So where has golf taken you in your career? Like, what are your top 2 courses that you've played in and around the country that you can share with our viewers?
Okay, let's see. I'd say probably the best one I got to play Whistling Straits a few years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And then the boy was at a treat, and we went up there in August. It was a beautiful day as well. Right. And I actually struck the ball very well there. Mm-hmm. Actually, this was many years ago. I had a 2-iron that I used to drive with.
Right.
And I don't know if you played the course or not, but it's really tight, a lot of sand, all that. So I was hitting 2-iron all day off the tee. I was getting about 260 or so, which is enough. I couldn't putt well that day. I think I had 5 or 6 3-putts, and I think I shot an 84, maybe something like that. So I was very pleased with it. Beautiful course. And then I got to play Pinehurst number 2.
Ooh, the dome greens.
Yeah. Oh boy, was that a challenge. And actually there's no water on that golf course, believe it or not, which was, I found very interesting. When I was getting my bag ready with the caddy, he said, we don't need that. It was my ball retriever. And I said, why not? He said, there's not any water hazard on this golf course. Wow. And the one thing challenging about that course is that hit me is a lot of the fairways have this very slight crown to them. Yeah. And the balls will just drift into these waste bunkers off the fairway. You think you had a great shot. Right. And then, it just kind of drifts off into the waste bunker. But my favorite memory shot from that round was I was in a greenside bunker with not a horrible lip on it. And I was grabbing my sand wedge, and the caddy said, no, you need to putt that ball. I said, really? Putt it? I said, what are you talking about? Putting out of a bunker? And he said, yes, if you get that ball in the air, he said, it's going to go off the green on the other side. And so I grabbed my putter and I hit it out. I can't remember how far I hit it from the cup, but it was the right play. But yes, I putted out of a bunker at a caddy's advice on that course. I thought that was very funny. Yeah, I think the local caddies, all that local knowledge makes a difference because, I played it years ago and I could not keep that ball on the green. Oh, it's just a really even tough. Just little chips were like, I couldn't spin it like I needed to. And so it was constantly rolling over and and that disappointment that, man, I hit a good shot and I'm now off the green. Oh, yeah. And the one thing I remember as well about it, you probably remember this also, is a lot of the greenside bunkers have these very steep faces to them. Right. If you recall that. And I mean, like you're down in a bunker and you got to get the ball 4 or 5 feet up in the air quickly to get it out of the bunker. I do remember that as well on several holes. Unfortunately, I found myself in the sand. Yeah, well, those are, Whistling Straits and Pinehurst number 2 or trophy. I mean, they're
the cream of the cream. And so our viewers can really relate to, playing. And I think too, that you said you 3-putted so many holes at Whistle and Straits, a lot of these really fast and you're not used to them. It's easy to all of a sudden walk off the course and go, man, I just had 6 3-putts. And it's and you're a good putter, but you're not used to how fast or the kind of undulations and all the different things on the green.
Yeah, and so kind of what I found there was, let's say a putt from 25 feet or so. Us at the skill level, normally we're within 2 feet or so, give or take. With those, I was, 4 and 5, 6 feet past the cup.
Right.
And making the comebackers was a little bit challenging as well. So that's what did it for me that day. But yeah, you're right. The different speeds, you don't play them that well, don't know the breaks, that kind of thing. So, but trust me, I walked off that golf course and I had a fabulous time, even though I didn't score the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
But what a great, it was just a treat to play it.
Well, right in front of us is a hole-in-one wall of fame.
Okay.
So would you be on that wall or would you not be on that
I
wall?
would be on that wall. I've had one hole-in-one in my life, only one, but I remember it to this day.
Tell us about it.
It was on number 2 at Merida Country Club. It was about 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I was playing with some very good buddies of mine. And actually the pin was on front left. But we couldn't see it. It's a relatively level hole from tee box to green. And so we couldn't see the ball go in the cup. But we were walking up there. I'm like, I know I hit that ball close. I know I hit it. Looking around a little bit, my buddy went over and looked in the hole, and there it was. And so that was my first one. But on that, I've had, I think, maybe 10 or 11 eagles from varying distances of 80 to 180 yards.
Yeah.
On many holes over the course of the year. One hole-in-one only off of the tee, but I've had a bunch of other ones roll in the cup from a long distance for eagle. So
now you're at 59. You're getting to the age, a few more years. Have you ever wanted to shoot your age?
Yes, absolutely. That is on the bucket list. There's no doubt about it. Got a few years to go.
Right.
That kind of thing. But if I can keep my handicap down and put those 2 good 9 holes together in about 10 or 11 years, I can do it. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as we get older, the hole-in-ones are less. Even it took me 45, 50 years to get a hole-in-one. Okay. So, I mean, it's not like you get them every couple years.
No.
So tell us about when you arrive at the golf course and you're in a match play tournament. What's your preparation like? What's your mindset?
Basically, with a match play, look, I warm up, about 30 minutes for a round.
Yeah.
Obviously, go to the range, hit some drivers, this kind of thing. Start with an 9-iron, then go to a 6 and a 5 hybrid. Then I'll do a little chipping, maybe from bunker. Then I finish up on the putting green. So it's fairly consistent on that side of things. But basically, one thing I heard Jack Nicklaus said this tip. I believe he should be credited with this. He said, if you are prior to a round, if you're on the practice range, if you are working on your game, you're in the wrong place. He said, you need to be just warming up, just grabbing a couple of clubs, just to swing. You don't really care. You're not working on swing thoughts and swing planes and this and that. He said, if you're doing that, it's too late for that round. And so basically I just try to go loosen up a little bit and just try to get my mind in the right place, just to hit one good shot after another. And one of the other things that I do now, I'm getting better at it, is I'm learning where I should not miss. Okay. Don't miss over here on this shot. If you're going to miss over there, that kind of thing. So I'm getting kind of good at that. And that is helping my score quite a bit as well, because I'm going to hit some poor shots. Right. Okay, there's no doubt. But basically, don't miss in that green side bunker when you got a tight pin, that kind of thing. So, but basically, I just kind of go through, try to visualize the shots. And the big thing with match play and in golf overall is you better have a short memory. Okay, that hole's gone. Can't do anything about it.
Yep.
Just go get in the right frame of mind to tee up on the next one. So that's what I try to do.
Well, I like that, because I haven't been a long hitter. Now I'm a very short hitter. So I will be practicing on chipping, and I've always was a pretty good putter. Okay. So, I'm always curious at the prep time, because you're exactly right. You can't be working on that cut the day you're going to tee it up and play in a match, because that thing's long gone. You better practice that. And that makes sense. I was home at Richmond, and my son-in-law my brother-in-law played in a golf tournament down in Florida with Bernard Langer.
Oh, okay.
And so I asked him, I said, what was the one takeaway that, he was in, like, inside the ropes, how they do with certain tournaments, the sponsors get to be inside the ropes.
Yeah.
So he said this, which I blew my mind. He arrives every round 3.5 hours early.
Okay.
And he has a routine that he goes through. But here he is, I think he's 67.
That's about right. Pretty close.
I mean, 3.5 hours he's getting mentally prepared for the round. Here's a guy that's accomplished so much, but yet he still takes that competitive nature to his prep time and the time he's preparing each time. Because, it's real easy. I was guilty of it with my foursome. Is I would come in hot and, I'd just get out of the car and just tee it up. And now I'm going, man, not only you subject yourself to physical injury because you're not warmed up,
right?
But you're not mentally prepared either because you run in there, you tee it up, and you swing. So the idea that 3.5 hours is crazy. So let's go back. You mentioned you were a builder.
Yes.
So what was the transition from builder to coaching? Tell us that journey like.
Okay. Sure. No, I was a builder for 36 years. It was my full-time career, and I always wanted to be a teacher of sorts in my second career. And this was a lifelong desire. My family always knew this. And my children are adults now. As I mentioned, we're going to be grandparents for the first time in April. We're very excited.
Whoa, that's awesome.
So excited. And so basically, Pete, I was ready. I had a wonderful career,
right?
But I just wanted to spend my time differently. Like I said, I'm only 59 years old. I've got a lot of years left to share, professional experiences, and it was just time for me. And so that's how I did it. But I've been thinking about this for probably 8 or 10 years, give or take. Right. And then the timing was right a couple of years ago for me to really start working on it. And I left home building in May of last year. That's 2022.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for 18 months right now, and it's going quite well for me. And I'm really enjoying it.
So you've used your 36 years in building to incorporate into, coaching. So what's the number one problem you see out there when you take on a client? What are you seeing in business that is common now that you're on the coaching side?
Okay. I see one thing, and this is a term I've come up with. I can't claim it, but what I call internal customer service. Okay. And this is I experienced this as well in my home building career, and I was guilty of, this as well, is if your staff members and associates are not kind of on the same page with the overall goal and direction and mission of the company and whatever the product or service is that is provided, then you're going to have challenges providing good external customer service is what I call it. So you got to have your stuff in line internally to be able to provide your good product or service. And this also includes what I call close external partners. Everybody has those. And for example, with me in home building, that was the trade base, the suppliers and subcontractors. I needed a plumber every day. I needed a framer every day. I needed a carpet guy every day. And they needed to perform as well. And so they have challenges also. So I tie in this close external partner concept with your internal associates. So they have to be on the same page as well for you to produce that product. And my product happened to be houses. But it's fascinating. The other businesses, that I'm dealing with, all the concepts are very similar. You've got a team effort, and you are producing a product or service to deliver to the customer.
Right.
And it's amazing how similar a lot of these steps and phases are to get to that point. I'm fascinated. I've learned so much about that with other businesses. It's fascinating. But internal customer service is a big deal, really big.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of like when you said, being 3 down with 5 to play. That's the kind of that mindset of a team and knowing who, you surround yourself with, because you're right. Life is not an island. It's, that relationships you have with those key people that are going to help you be successful. So When you first sit down with people, do you have like an assessment or something that you do, or how do you get people started?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I've got one coming up in the next week or so.
Okay.
Basically, what I'll do is I'll get with an owner, CEO, or director, or principal of the company. And I've got a couple of topics that I'll talk about. One that I want to focus on mainly is what I call A performer, A environment.
Okay.
And this is relative to our historical grading scale, A, B, C, D, and F.
Mm-hmm.
And my fundamental premise here is that if you put a C performer in an A environment, they can become an A performer.
Right.
If you put an A performer in a C environment, they will drift towards C performance and they will probably leave.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want A performance from your staff members and close external partners, then the owner principal needs to develop an A environment. I've got a formula for an A environment, and I've identified the traits of an A performer.
Okay.
And fundamentally here, Pete, I believe that if you can create an A environment, for the most part, you can't have an 100% capture rate on everything, but an A environment overall, and you can foster and attain A performance, you cannot fail in our society. You can't.
Yep.
Okay. So A environment, A performer, those two go together. You can't fail. You'll have your bad days. You'll have your bad this and that and the other, but on the overall long-term scenario, you can't fail if you do that, is my opinion, personally and professionally, by the way.
I love it. I love it. Now I know why you're such a strong match play person. Yeah. Because, I think anybody can go out and play just normally.
Yeah.
But I always look at the match play as kind of like business. You don't have the ability to hit the putt over again. That's done. Right. And so when you're playing in a match, every shot counts. And I think business, it's the same thing. And who you surround yourself with, the mindset of an A, environment, because I've heard that before, not described like you described it, but you're right. You can get a C to move up to an A, but if you put a C in an A, and you're going to see the exact opposite if you're not careful with that environment that you put them in. So why don't you tell our viewers, because I know there's more to it than just what you've shared with us. How can people get a hold of you?
Basically, best way to get in touch with me is my phone number. Text or voice. I love it. I used to give my phone number to my homeowner customers, by the way.
Right.
678-618-2024.
Okay.
My phone number, or my email address is Farrell, that's FARRELL, at thebellcurveoflife.com. Awesome. That's how you get in touch with me. Phone, voice, or email.
That is totally awesome.
Yeah.
And for our viewers, if you're driving and you're listening to Farrell and this podcast, we'll put in the show notes some links so you'll be able to get there. Don't think you have to write it down. We don't want to be causing any accidents out there. We want you to be soaking up the information that he shared with you. And if you're a golfer and you need some coaching, I think we basically have a match play coach here too. So maybe he will give you some tips with your regular coaching with business if you're a golfer. So our golfers, there's help out there. So I'm going to leave us with, we always like to leave our guests with what insight would you want our viewers to take away from this podcast today? What would you want to share with us?
Just basically on the golf side of things, just focus on the next shot.
Yeah.
You can't hit the shot, 3 holes ahead of you right now. You have one shot at a time. And as well, you're playing against the golf course. You're playing with people, they're scoring as well, but it's really you against the golf course.
Yeah.
It's not you against any other athlete. It's you and the golf course. So just focus on that shot at that point in time, and that should lead to some good success.
Awesome, man. This was a treat. Thank you, Farrell. We appreciate you taking the time to start off the week with us and to give us some golf insights.
Well, thank you very much. I've had a wonderful time with you, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Awesome.